Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning.
How was everybody's week?
Good morning.
Good morning. Oh, Adam is going to join us for today. He's normally going to be working, but Adam's new to the group. I reached out to him to start with, and he didn't have the time at the time. But anyway, Adam's here, so I'd like
Yeah,
everyone to meet Adam Wasson.
I'm just trying to play a little catch up here, and I'm trying to get settled and so I've been too complacent for too long, so I'm trying to change that. So, change is takes time, but I'm going to certainly do my best. So,
Perfect. Well,
I
welcome,
need a
Adam.
push. So,
We'll push you. We're good at
don't
pushing
push me over the edge.
No, not over the edge, just push you.
Yes. Just
So, well, welcome to you. And part of the people on here, but you'll get to
I
know some of
do.
the rest of them. Uh, you know, um, I'll just introduce Sean's from there. Daniela's from California. Deb Turner's from Texas. Anne is from California. Rosie's
Pearl's
from
on
Montana.
there.
Yep, Rosie's from Montana. Dave's from Canada.
Wow.
You know Lisa. Jackie's from Colorado now, but you know her.
Yeah.
Peter's from Canada, you know Pearl. Jackie Fielder's from Virginia. Michelle Craig is from Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
I said it.
Wow.
And I should know that because that's my state. Sandy's from Iowa. Sarah Stockham's now from Tennessee. And Patience lives in Maryland or Virginia. Anyway, she's close. Maryland. Okay. Anyway, so she's down there with you guys too. So
Yeah.
anyway,
I'm
that's
in
everybody
Maryland too.
here.
We're really spread out. All right.
So, and there's a few people that couldn't be on today. So anyway, I'll get started by just asking people, how did the demonstrations go with the gel? I hope you were able to do that. Did anybody have any experience that they'd like to share with anybody? Rosie, you were shaking your head. Sure, go ahead.
I
Even
did.
though you're dead to me now.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. What happened?
I played in a tennis tournament this weekend, and so I did one with one gal out of four. Only one was open to being tested, and it totally blew her mind. And I have her information and following up with her. And then on Friday, I did that with another gal that I played against in singles, and she whooped my you know what. And she had a bad back, so I was able to help her with her back and do the strength balance test, and it really blew her mind. And she left the tournament Saturday night to go back to Great Falls, and her back was still not hurting from a Friday application. So it
Great.
was successful for just a couple of folks.
Okay,
Thank
perfect.
you. Thank you.
I tested my chiropractor, just so you know. So, and he was duly impressed, even though he already loves this stuff. Anne, go ahead.
Yes, actually, my tennis coach, we were playing, and then she injured her pinky somehow. So right away, while they were getting some band-aid for her, I had the gel on me, so I put it on, and then she was like, "What is this? What is this?" So I told her, "I'll tell you later." And then after the match, I did the strength test on her, and she's looking at me like, "What is this?" So this I'm still following up with her. And then in another match that I was playing, this lady, her back was hurting. So I asked her, did you have surgery or? But anyways, she also poured a little squeeze a little gel on her hand. She put it on her back, and then we were playing. At the end of the match, she said, "What is this? I don't, I feel like I'm better now." So, those are my two experiences with the gel.
Good.
Thank you.
Anyone else have anything great that happened, Michelle?
I, of course, tried it on my husband first, and he was impressed.
Yeah.
So there was a guy at church that wants to come into the product, but he doesn't have enough money yet. So he bought a tube of the gel. And I'm like, okay, I've got to show him what it does. So I didn't know about all the other ones. I'll try all the other ones, but I did the one with a hand lifting it up and toes coming off the ground. And he was impressed. Well, he's got two younger daughters there, both 17. So they saw it and they're like, oh, we want to try it. So they tried it and were impressed. And one of the girls had a stuffy nose. And I know it works with the liquid. And she's like, will this work on it? I'm like, I don't know. You can try it. So she got it and tried it on her nose. And she says, oh, yeah, I feel better. I'm like, okay, I just hope his two 17-year-old daughters don't take the tube and play with it so he can
Yep.
get some use out of it.
Oh, well, he'll see it either way. So that'll be good. That's great. So that was 3 out of your 10.
The rest are coming.
The rest are coming.
Well, it
Okay.
was 2 girls, a guy, and my husband. That's 4.
There you go. Oh, perfect. That's right. All right. Anyone else want to share anything?
I tried it on my,
With, okay, where you go, Dave?
I was gonna say, I tried it on my skeptical family members. And
Oh, you did.
so it's just a case of another step in breaking down their resistance. So it was all positive outcomes, but you know, it was still, oh, well, it works, ho hum, you know, but anyway.
Yeah, of course. I know.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on doing that, though, that they allowed you to do it. And Peter, what were you going to say?
Well, I shared it with a lady at a restaurant, a waitress, I guess she's the owner too. So anyhow, she had a neck brace on, so I didn't want to do it. So I just sent her back and asked her what her problem was, and she said that she just had a sore neck. Anyhow, wasn't. That's why she was wearing the brace. And she took it into the bathroom and used it and came back out and sort of had that eye and the big eyes. Anyhow, she used it, and so I left her and I sent her a link to the shopping cart. And she said that the shopping cart took her to somebody down in the States, not to me. So I don't know exactly what happened with that, but something
Oh,
that
yeah.
I'm looking into. But anyhow, a couple questions in regards to that. So I was just wondering if maybe Sandy got an order for a tube of Renew out of somewhere, because I know that in my back office quite often goes to Sandy's.
That's so weird.
Yeah, it's happening again. I don't know what a C is doing, but anyhow.
Sandy, if
Well,
you said something, we couldn't hear you. We're still not hearing
you're
you.
muted. Yeah. Anyhow, so I tried it. She's interested. I wasn't quite certain. I said that we can do a direct order next time that she wants some, but she said it went to somebody in the States, and I couldn't quite figure that one out. So either that she's giving me a line or or
All right.
what.
Well, we'll figure that out. We can
Yeah,
figure that
anyhow.
out.
So it was, you know, it definitely does work. And I've done the test before, but I've never done the one where you go up on one leg.
Uh-huh.
That seems kind of interesting, just sort of waiting to see what the opportunity for that one to come up. Anyway,
So
I guess I
okay.
got, sorry, I had my headphones
Okay.
that were turned off. Peter, are you doing your virtual cart through the app or through your back
my back
office?
office, I don't have a virtual card. We don't have that app in
But you don't
Canada.
have the app, you don't have the app. But you're creating a cart, I would just create a new cart and name it, and then test it out because that's really weird.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, I've tested it. I thought it came back to me because it's got my ID number, the one that I sent her.
Interesting.
Anyhow, just weird.
Hmm.
All right. And this is the 6th week of the Accelerator group for Adam's question and thing. All right, we can call Diamond Support a little bit later to figure that one out.
They
Anyway.
open, anyhow, a
Oh,
couple
no,
other.
they're not open today, but we'll have to call tomorrow. Anyway, okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else have anything to share before we get going? Pearl's fixing her chicken feathers. What is she doing?
I'll share what I did.
Okay.
Is that okay? So I've spoken to this girl before, but she was wearing something around her hand, and she said it was her thumb that was an issue. She could still type and everything, but it was her thumb. But she had already taken something for it that day, and I said, "Well, I want to just go over it with you so you get the idea of how to use it." And then she was talking about her husband, his feet. And I said, okay, well, put a lot of this on his one foot and see how that goes. I saw her a couple days later. Well, I still haven't done that yet. So that's where we're at. But anyway, I just a lot of times like to do it, with the people so they get the idea. So of course I didn't get any results with her, but I said next time maybe you might think about doing the gel instead of your over the counter. So I'll see her again and we'll talk about it some more.
Okay. All right. Well, continue to do that, especially if you never got to 10 at least. But again, always have the gel with you when you're out anywhere, because you never know, like Rosie's out on the tennis court, you never know when it's going to help anybody. Pearl's gone into the bathroom several times with people to put it on their children and stuff. It's been amazing, some of the results that people have gotten with this. So just kind of always have it with you.
I have a question, Debbie.
Okay.
Since you just mentioned that, and say, would it be good to put it on the nape of the neck for maybe, say, a child that's on the spectrum?
Absolutely.
In that incidence, you like I have some friends.
If Pearl
like
wants, you want to tell your story real fast, Pearl, that one time at least?
I was in an airport and the child was having an extreme meltdown. And I went into the bathroom where the mother was trying to calm the child down and put the gel on the back of the child's neck and the front and back of his neck. And he was in a screaming fit. He would not have been allowed on that airplane. And that calmed him down within minutes. He just went into the most peaceful, calm state. It was miraculous.
So if you've got any small children and stuff like that, it works beautifully. For those of you who are about to have children, remember that. So anyway, all right. Today we're going to focus on the follow-up. So I want to know how many
Precious
people
has a question.
Oh, okay. Who has a question?
Precious?
Patience?
Patience, sorry.
I don't even. Oh, Patience, go ahead.
Oh, hi. Yes. I tried it on my husband who just had a surgery on his shoulder. And before he was skeptical about it, and because he's saying that his doctor said he shouldn't put anything on. And he was in very severe pain. So I applied it on his neck, not directly where the surgery is. And within like 5 minutes, the pain just went away and he was able to sleep. So since then, he's been drinking the Redox and also asking more information about it. So I'm very happy because he's not someone who he didn't want to use it. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You've been in for a while. Your husband's never used it until now?
He's on and off.
No. Okay, well, now he's on. Good.
Yeah.
Now he knows what it can do. That's for sure.
Yes.
Perfect. All right, thank you, Patience. Sorry, I didn't see your hand raised. We want to see your pretty face one of these days.
Yes, I will come on. I'm
Oh, okay.
working that well.
Okay. All right.
Mhm.
Like I said, today we're going to follow on, do our training on follow-up. We're just going back to the basics. And so I'd love to see in the chat, if you guys can put in, if you love follow-up, put a 1. If you don't like follow-up, put a 2. I'd like to see some of your 1 and 2. Thanks, Tammy. That's a decisive
Oh, some days
1.5.
yes, some days not so much.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
I love the 1.5 answer.
Yeah, exactly. Michelle Craig. Thanks, Michelle.
It's hilarious.
Anyway, well, this is a skill that takes a little bit of finessing to get to the point where you really enjoy calling somebody to follow up for whatever reason. Follow up can be either for following up if they're on the product to make sure that they're doing okay and making suggestions on how to get the best results, or it can be follow up when you're first getting interest in people. So follow up has 2 different meanings. And the one getting the interest is usually the one that people don't like because, half the time or more than half the time they haven't watched a video if you sent it or whatever. So then you've got to figure out what else to say and do and all that kind of stuff. But as we'll talk about qualifying people, they'll be much more interested in looking at whatever you send. So we do tend to let follow up drop. Sometimes we don't keep track of it. Sometimes we kind of let it go. We're just kind of afraid to maybe call the person, that kind of thing. But professionals always pleasantly and consistently follow up with people. So we know that people don't usually make a decision after one exposure. And I'd like you all to think back to when you were exposed. I know I can make fun of Jackie here. I know it took her 6 years to, for me to get her to finally do the business, but I wasn't really pushing or anything. But anyway, but most people, when they were first exposed to this, it took a while for you to wrap your head around what it was kind of, and maybe have an experience or maybe, come to an event or see something like that. But it took a while. And it usually takes 7 to 9 exposures for people to really make a decision most of the time. So we're going to have to learn patience with people for one thing. Anyway, but it takes out several follow-ups, and I'd love you to think back to yours. I don't think any of us just jumped right in. And if you're not setting it up well, it can just feel like a drag to do follow-up with people. So it can feel like people are ignoring you or ghosting you or, whatever, if they're not picking up the phone afterwards. So you get into your head a lot about that, because a lot of people, if they don't answer in the first couple of times, a lot of people think, oh, they're not interested, I'll just let it go. And nothing could be further from the truth, because you all know your lives and you're busy and you have things going on all the time. And there's sometimes that we just don't get to see our messages. I know I missed a message just recently from my finance guy that I was supposed to get back to. So messages get, and there's so many ways to get messages these days with all the different apps, WhatsApp, and Telegram, and your text and your email, and it goes on, and private messaging with Facebook. And if you're not checking those on a daily basis, people maybe just don't see your message. So that's the one thing I don't want people to get discouraged. And I've even called people, and when they finally got back to me, one woman was so sick, she was in bed. She goes, "Thank you for continuing to follow up. I was so sick, I couldn't even answer my phone." So she was very happy I called and was able to get her some ASEA. So you just never know what's going on in other people's lives. So what I can say is, if you qualify, when we talked about qualifying people a couple of times ago, if you're qualifying, you'll know their reason for wanting to know more about this, and you can always use that. You've established the gap between, if you've qualified people, you've established the gap. You know why they're looking into this. If it's for more money, if it's for a health challenge, and whatever that health challenge is. And so you can follow up and continue to follow up, just by using their own words if they're not answering. Instead of saying, what did you like best about the video after you've sent it out or something like that, you can say, hey, did you see how Redox can support your husband with his issue? Or did you see how it could support, well, like patient's husband with his issue? Did you see how this could support you? Or did you see how this could support your mother with her heart problem or something, whatever it is? And then that gets them thinking about their own issue, and it's about them, and they're much more interested at that point. And you could see, how this could be supportive, and like I said, you're always making it about them. It's never about you, and this person isn't an object that you need to get into your business or anything. You're really trying to help somebody overcome something. So does everybody see how qualifying people kind of fills that gap? So that's really important, to just not send out a video and hope that they watch it. If you're really qualifying people, that's what you want to do, so that you know their issues. If you're talking about the business part of it and you're wanting to teach someone else how to make money online, establish that gap also. It's not just for the product always. What are you doing? What have you tried? How is it going? What are your frustration points with not making enough money? Where have you gotten support with that? What have you tried that hasn't worked? What have you tried that has worked? Anything that they've tried to make money before with? You're asking a ton of questions because you're trying to figure out, where is this person? What have they done? Do they like their job? Do they not like their job? Whatever it is that they're in, and if they're wanting to make more money, you're trying to establish that gap also, figuring out, what's going to be the most use to them. Do you want to do this as a side job, or do you want to continue? Do you want to continue your job? Do you like it enough to continue it, while you're making side money? Is this something you'd like to go into full time if this works? And do you enjoy really helping people with their health and with making more money? So there's so many questions you can ask, and make them visualize the future. What is it going to be like when they're making more money? What do you want more free time with? Oh, you have kids? All right. You want to spend more time with your kids. What do you want to do when you're spending time with your kids? Do you want to take them somewhere? Do you want to just be able to go to the park with them anytime you want? The more you ask questions, the more trust is built when you're talking to somebody, and they really feel that you care about them. So remember, it's just like, if you remember back, if you have a significant other, you were asking them questions, about them. You were really interested because you wanted to know who this person was, because you were attracted to them. So you're going to be doing the same thing with all of the people that you're trying to gain interest in for ASEA. And you're wanting to know who they are. Because like I said before, if you're thinking about inviting them into our family, you want to make sure it's a good person, for one thing also. And then the sharing of the tool and the follow-up becomes much easier when you do that, because then they're really interested in seeing what you're going to send them, because they know you care, and they're thinking, okay, this person does have a solution, at least one solution. It may not be the one for me, but you at least have a solution. So here's, so when you send something, you can say, here's what I believe can help you. And again, you can take it away. I took it away a lot of times when I was first starting. I don't know if this is for you or not, but you might want to just take a look at it. And that helps take walls down, if you're not being pushy. And again, most of you aren't pushy, which is wonderful. I don't think any of you are. But that's what you don't want to do, because that's where a lot of times where network marketing gets such a bad name, because people are so pushy and they're so excited and they can't wait for you to join them and stuff like that. And, people don't always want to join you. This isn't for everybody. So when you're talking to them, this could let you have more time with your kids. Then remember to book the next meeting from the meeting that you've just done, because that will really help with follow-up. So when you're talking to somebody, if I send you this video and now you're excited about it, when would you have time to watch it? This weekend? Okay, great. I'd like to follow up with you on Monday before you forget any questions that you might have, that kind of thing. And I have Monday open between 3 and 4. Does that work for you? And of course, they're going to say either yes or no to that. They're gonna answer your question. And they're going to say, no, I don't have 3 or 4, but I do have after 5. And you can then say if you're available or not after 5. But just make sure you're booking that meeting and you've got down the time and what day you're supposed to be doing that, and make sure that gets into whatever planner or Excel spreadsheet or whatever you're using to do your follow-ups, so that you're on time and you're getting back to them when you say you are, because that's part of the professionalism of this also. If the person says, no, just send it over, I'll get back to you, then you know this person is not a prospect. That's a suspect. You're probably not going to get anything from them. They're probably not even going to watch it. So you can either kind of let that go and know that they're not taking it seriously, they're just being nice. Or you can say, no, this is too important. So if you're not going to look at it, I'm just not going to send it. That will show your posture and how strong you believe in this, and knowing that it works and stuff. And then they either kind of back up and go, oh, wait, I do want to see it. Then you know you can send it. But if you just go ahead and send it, like a lot of people do, just know you're probably not going to get much from that person. So people who are serious, they will want to meet with you. They want to know a solution to their problem. You know, if they're having pain or if they're having problems. We just talked to a woman right before this who has a heart issue. She's definitely interested in helping her body fix its heart by adding these molecules. So she was, definitely interested, and she's going to continue to take it. So I'd like to talk to you more about why I think this can be helpful. Let's set up 10 minutes. I'm available Tuesday or Wednesday, and that's what I was saying. You can give times or days. Can you meet on either day and give them choices and tell them this is important? Make sure you tell them this is important, because it could change their life, because a lot of your lives were changed when you got on this product. And also let them know that you're busy. Just say, my schedule's busy. I want to make this a priority. I don't want to waste your time. And when you give them choices, they always pick one.
Right.
So it's just human behavior. It's clear, it's direct, and it's very professional. Then when you follow up with them after that, you can say, that's great. Were you able to watch it? And hopefully they did at that point, because you've qualified them and they're very interested. So you can give them a Zoom link, or you can call them back and they're excited now. Wow, this person really cares about me. They know that you care about them because you're following up in a professional way. This person wants to support me in establishing the gap. And this makes it much easier. You're not chasing rabbits at this point. You're not trying to get people that just aren't answering the phone. And if you're doing this online, remember that it's so much easier. Excuse me. It's so much easier to ignore people kind of online. They don't know you. They don't know your humanity. And sometimes, like they said, you just miss the messages. So don't ever take that personally if they don't get back to you. You might continue to definitely drip on them, because, like I said, they don't know you. So they're not taking offense to you. They're just, maybe they've missed the message. Maybe they just, maybe they're not that interested. So you can continue to follow up with them, but just make sure you're not taking it personally that, oh, they don't like me or whatever it is. Diamonds laugh all the time about how many times it takes to get in touch with people sometimes, definitely. And we have all kinds of stories that we tell each other. So we know we're looking for people who want to do the business. However, the reality is it has to be the right time in another person's life. Many of you came in a little later after you've even maybe been trying the product for a while, and then you decided you wanted to share this. You just never know. It does have to be the right time. They have to be interested in something like ASEA. So they have to be interested in health, definitely. And they'd probably have to have an experience with the product, or maybe they've gone to an event and they've heard all other people and they get all lit up. It takes time to get them there. So again, have patience. Like I was saying to begin with, most people need 7 to 9 exposures to this before they're ever really excited and they jump into this and they go, I want to do this with you. And it has to be the right person also. So we have to cultivate patience, just like the farmer who plants seeds, and they know that they have to wait for them to grow. They can't just stick a rose bush in the ground and expect to have roses the next day and picking them. And especially if you've got elk around your house and you know they're going to be eaten. So the seeds have to break down for the roots to grow, and then the plant begins to sprout. So you have to break down your entire indoctrination on how your body heals and how you get treated and how you look outside of Western medicine. You may have to break all that down for people because they've been indoctrinated usually to go to their doctor and usually get prescriptions. And you're going to have to overcome that. And they're going to have to be open to something that's outside Western medicine. And if it's network marketing, you may have to break that down too. A lot of people push back from network marketing. There's so many different ways you can do that, in showing them this company's in particular with the next level marketing, and the fact that he was going to try to bring it through the pharmaceutical companies, but they wanted to try to buy us out and shut us down. So once you've told people that, it usually overcomes their objection. And so we say it had to be done by word of mouth. And then they kind of get it at that point, because it also needs an explanation. You couldn't just put this on a shelf anywhere and expect people to know what it is. So there's so many different ways you can overcome the network marketing piece of this also. And if, and just say, I've said many times that in our ethos, we are looking for people who really care about others, who aren't looking at people as objects. And we don't want you if you're not that type of a person. And so if they're the right time, they raise their hand and say, yes, I want to join you at that point. So maintain your posture when you're doing this, because you don't just want anybody in your business either. So any thoughts or questions or anything? Yes, Anne?
Thank you, Debbie. First, my question about when you already make the appointment, like I'm talking to the father who has 2 autistic children. Actually, they're in their 20s. And he made the appointment. He said Wednesday at 4 p.m. So I called him, but then there was a message. So I left a message for him. So how do you follow up in that situation when he already, we set up the time and the date? Should I call him back? Should I email?
I would call him back, and if you have to leave a message again, just say, I'm sorry you weren't able to make our appointment on Wednesday at 4. But so I'm trying to follow back up. I hope nothing's happened, and please let me know by text or calling me back when you are available.
Okay, thank you. And with regards to the MLM thing, multi-level marketing, I found a very nice paragraph from AI GPT, and I don't know if you would like me to kind of read it, just short one.
Sure.
It's like, I understand your concern when they say something about the MLM. It's important to clarify that our primary focus on the health breakthrough of that our products offer. We're more about sharing valuable solutions that can genuinely benefit individuals, including yourself. The distribution method is just a way to make products, to make these products accessible to more people. So our goal is to help you and others improve overall well-being. So it's basically focusing on the value of what we offer to people. So I thought that was very nice, and I can put it in the chat if somebody
Yeah,
wants.
that would be great. That would be great. That's another beautiful way to put it, basically.
All right, I'll do that. Thank you.
Debbie, I appreciate all that you shared. And my thought was on the giving the breakdown. Do we have maybe perhaps you or David or somebody breaking those two areas down so that we just have another tool to share with as opposed to talking?
Breaking what area down? I'm sorry.
Okay, so you're saying might have to explain to people, break it down about how with the body and the pharmaceuticals, drugs or whatever. I think that's how you were putting it. And then I guess maybe, okay, and then the MLM part.
Oh,
you broke it down a little bit with us now, but is there a tool that we can, share with the person so that we're not talking, so that I'm not talking?
I could definitely create one as far as either one of those. Trying to think.
6
I don't know
minutes.
I don't know if David's done, why through network marketing or not. He's done every other video in the world, so he's probably got one. I could try to look that up. What were you gonna say, Peter?
The 6-minute video or the 6 reasons video sort of does that.
Yeah, there's 6 reasons that people want to look at this, and that's all
Right.
about them.
But I don't see that as breaking it down though.
No, not from what I was saying, basically, but yeah, well, I could create a video for that. That's no problem.
I also send people like the Genesis video. I mean,
yes,
that's why it's brought through. It is so.
Yeah.
Yep.
That helps explain the network marketing piece of it. And that was a beautiful video, and they also get to meet Virtus that way, even though he's not really around right now. But
Hey, Debbie.
yes.
Yep. I'm sorry. I just want to make clear. So I don't think I've been doing this. So when you do a follow-up and you follow up and you have a conference, you always make another follow-up immediately after you try to do your best to make that follow-up and do that consistently. Don't leave it open for, I mean, that's normally we do. So let's say they come watch a video and you have a 3-way. Then you want to try to establish another follow-up time, like say maybe next week, or what's a good time for you, and pin down a time. And
well, don't wait a week if you're following up. I mean, now you're going to ask.
I mean, don't wait a week, but maybe the following week or something like that comes on, like a team Zoom or not a team Zoom, excuse me, like a one of the Discover Redox or anything that inviting them to a Zoom, a public Zoom.
Well, if you're doing a follow-up and you're finding out, after you've sent them something, you're going to find out what else they want or need in order to make an informed decision at that point. So if a Zoom is applicable, then fine, that's what you can send them to. But if not, is there anything else you need to get started? That kind of thing.
Oh, like what kind of
I wouldn't keep
information?
feeding information to them.
Right.
I would make sure I get them on Zooms and stuff even after they start the product, so they can see that it's not just them having an experience, it's many, many people that have had experiences. So it opens their mind a little bit more. But no, if you're following up, don't just keep sending information. They'll never make a decision that way.
Right. I guess you can ask the scale question from 1 through 10. What's your interest level, with 10 being the highest, and try to get an idea of where they are, and then try to, and then.
But if you're qualifying them, you don't even need to ask that question. You're kind of knowing their interest. You're just asking them if they need anything else to make a decision at that point.
Or how can we help you make a decision?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. because they might want a little bit more information. Maybe you just send them testimonials. Maybe now they want some science. You just never know what people want
Yeah,
in order to make a final decision.
it's very
Or
true. I know
maybe
my
they're,
dad, when my dad's very analytical, he wanted a science before he made a decision, and he had, so yeah, it all takes time, but you're absolutely right. I appreciate your information about the exposures, but also the posture. I think that's one of the issues I have been doing. I have to maintain a posture, but you do have to take the lead. That's
yes,
you're absolutely right. So
yes, you
I'll
do.
improve on that. But thank you very much for your
Absolutely.
advice. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah, don't keep offering more information. I will tell you that. If they want it, they'll ask for it. But I mean, if you continue to offer more information, again, they're never going to make a decision.
Right.
Some people just don't need all that information. They'll get to it eventually. That's part of what I think David tries to get too much information sometimes, and it can be overwhelming to people. I mean, then they're stuck because
Yes.
we've got so much information. So anyway,
Yes.
yes, Lisa?
Very
So
true.
Debbie, yeah, on that note then, when it takes 7 to 9 times, you don't want to keep offering them the information. How would you go about just kind of dropping a line every now and then? Hey, just checking on your health, or, that kind of
Well, I'd
thing?
actually be following up and talking to them and just saying, you said you were, I mean, if you've qualified them, they're
Right.
interested, or you wouldn't be following up. And if they're really interested, they're going to make a decision. So you're not going to have to do that. You're only dripping on people that are suspects, basically. They are kind of interested, but
Yeah.
they're just,
Okay.
they're just out there. So that's when you can start a drip campaign and put people like that in a drip campaign with an email and use some of Trish Schwinkler's Did You Knows and stuff like that. And that
Gotcha.
one of those might pique their interest, oh, glutathione, this raises glutathione, or, oh, this helps stop seizures, or, just whatever it is. One of them might trigger them to get back to you. And that's a lot of times what will happen. Or maybe they're perfectly healthy and maybe they or somebody in their family all of a sudden come down with something. Lisa, do you think this could really help my dad? He just had a heart attack or whatever, that kind of thing. And then you can get back to them.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. If you're
Yeah,
just
it's
ripping on them.
separating out the suspects and
Yeah,
So
if they're
definitely
really interested, they're going to make a decision pretty quickly, and that's why the qualification questions are so important.
I guess that's the thing too. If their decision is no, or it's not the right timing or whatever, just kind of leave it. You've already given them information, so they know who to go to when they're
Yeah, and if they
maybe
say
interested in
no,
your,
if they say
or
no,
they just ghost you. Yeah, it's like, okay, I guess that's your no.
well, don't take ghosting as a no. I mean, like I said, something could have happened.
Okay.
You don't know that. But if they say no, you can say, okay, that's fine. I honor your decision. I'm just wondering, we're doing research all the time. Would you like to be kept up to date on the new research?
Yeah.
Now fear of missing out kicks in and they're like, yeah, sure. So then you could start sending them some of the, like I said, did you knows are perfect. Because there's so much science in a lot of them that you could, they don't know if it's new or not. It could have been the metabolite study done, 10 years ago, but they don't know. So anyway. Yeah. Yes, Jackie.
I just want to be, I'm grateful for learning terminology. Basically, I did not, through Alan Noble's, the training, everything, I learned about the difference between the suspects and the prospects. And then now you've clarified for me a little bit more that when we use, I guess I was using dripping a lot loosely. So to hear you say dripping is for the suspects, and I'm like, oh, light bulb went off. So I'm putting in there follow-ups are for the prospects. Is that good too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. You need to know.
So when
that
you're
they're
talking,
very interested. Yeah.
I'm sorry. So when you're saying the 7 to 9 times, you're actually talking about on the prospect side. Is that correct?
Yeah, and some people don't take that long. That's just the average, I'm saying. When I
Yeah,
call
that wasn't me.
Pearl,
I was
she's
on
been
board right
on.
away.
when I called Pearl, her intuition kicked in and she said, yeah, get me in. You know, I want this. And she didn't even, I mean, she knew me really well also, but she didn't need a lot of information. So it really depends on the person and what
It
they
really
maybe have
depends
already
on
been exposed to.
what's happening in that person's life too, because
Yeah.
when I was originally approached, I bought a case and took the case according to the instructions I was given at the time, which weren't very good. You know who gave me the instructions, so you can laugh about that one all you want.
Yep.
Yeah, and I didn't feel anything. This tasted pretty bad.
Yep.
And it wasn't until later on, but my life was really full at that time because I
And
had weddings and making wine and everything else for weddings, and now I was also in a competition for my other business, so I was building that too. So
and if I
yeah.
can use Peter as an example of follow-up, he was taking it and he'd been hit in the head by a huge speaker that fell off on his head. And he was like a couch potato for years. And then he got on this, hoping that the brain fog would go away. And when I finally got to talk to him, I was saying, well, you probably should go up in the amount you're taking. And he kind of chuckle and okay. I'd say, then I'd call him back. Did you go up? No, I didn't go, da, 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 da. It wasn't until I got him on the phone with Dr. Robert Nitzer. And he goes, well, you might want to go up in what you're taking. And Peter went up and he called me the next day. My brain fog's gone. I was ready to wring his neck. He hadn't listened to me. So there's a prime example of three-way phone calling and how important it is. Definitely. Because people don't always listen to you. They don't hear you in
And
that way.
that was the second time that I went back on it.
Right.
That wasn't the first time. So anyhow, it was, it really didn't, I guess, interest me all that. Because, and the second time the weddings were over, the competition was won. I was quite into my other business at that time.
Yeah. And there's an example of it has to be the right time for people. You don't know what's going on. Last year, I couldn't focus that much on ASEA as much because of Jackie's wedding and David's father passing away and stuff. So I was distracted a lot. So anyway, you just don't know what's going on in other people's lives. So make sure that you continue to follow up if you've qualified them and they said they were interested. And if they're not, put them in the suspect line and like send them emails or drip campaigns or whatever. And that's the way to continue to get people, to keep people basically semi-interested, because they've told you they were a little bit interested to start with. Even a suspect will tell you that. And again, that could just be nice to you so that because they don't like confrontation, but you just never know. Anyway, I think that's pretty much it. If there's any other questions or anything, I'm happy to go over them. There was one other thing that I wanted to mention though. Like if you're dealing with, I know it came up for Anna Zoo that she was dealing with a massage therapist, but if you're dealing with somebody in particular, but if it's a wellness center like Ivani's Wellness Center, or and I wish I'd had all this when I was going to Ivani, because that was very time consuming. Took her at least 7 exposures. Anyway, but you could say to them now, that you could create a box, a business in a box basically, and you take it in. You've got before and after photos that they can put out. You can make a QR code for them so they can have a shopping cart, or people could learn more information. And you also have I guess they're called rack cards that you can get that have, just the examples of what the products are and information about the products. And you can take that in and say, here it is. It's easy to set up. We can get you set up in about an hour if you want. And that way you can have a business going, a side business going, where you're making more money in about an hour's time. And that makes it so easy for people to make a decision because, you know, if the massage therapist has used it, she's going to feel the difference in the muscles virtually immediately. And we've had people, that's how they get massage therapists interested. They'll go give me a massage and then rub this on and then feel the difference in the muscles. And if they're good, they can feel the difference immediately. So that's one way to do it. Yes, Sean?
Just want to just delve a little bit into what you just said about business in a box, because that's a tricky one in my mind, because there is a lot of touch that's required for people to use, especially the liquid properly. The gel, not so much, but the liquid really does require, you know, health trackers. And so somebody in a doctor's office would need to be assigned to doing that. It's not
Right.
just one-off, get the product, put it on, da-da-da-da. So there's sort of, I just want to say that out loud, and that came forward in my mind as you were describing it. So there's
Right.
sort of two different types of business in a box idea.
More that the business in the box would be probably more for the Renew 28. Basically, if they're kind of just using that, you could lead into, you know, once they see that changing people, you know, over time, you could go back to them and talk, you know, there's a liquid form that you can take. And the amazing part about that is it's changing your insides even faster. So if you'd like to know more, and then they'd probably be willing to put more time into it and do the health trackers and all that kind of stuff too. But it's an introduction to get you into, you know, like I said, wellness centers, massage therapists, you know, spas, different things like that. The Renew 28 is great for that kind of thing. And that's what we were just testing with anyway. And you can show them the test. Just say, here, let me show you what this does, you know, and if you're interested, it is kind of like a business in a box. So you could make the before and after pictures for them to put them out and display them and all that kind of stuff. I do that every week at the chiropractor's office. I put out displays. So
Is it improper to make the extrapolation between the NRF2 white paper, drinking the liquid and applying the gel? Those, I realize that the science isn't related to the gel, it's only to the liquid. But I'm just wondering, same molecules with the exception that one has the clay.
right.
Is it?
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. That's what it was doing for the people in Australia before they could get the liquid, you know, and for Thailand right now. They're using the gel a lot. So it's doing the same thing. It's just that you have to use, like I said, I mean, this was, you know, not scientific specific, but Australia were saying that if you do use 6 tubes of gel a month, it's equivalent to drinking a case of ASEA when you're rubbing it on. So yes, it would do the same thing. That's why it always makes me laugh in my head when people are like, oh, I won't drink it, but I'll use that gel. I'm like, okay, be my guest. They're going to go right into your body anyway. So
So Debbie, I have a question.
sure.
Yeah. About the product. So can somebody just use the gel and it works the same? So I always tell them you have to use both.
Well, it works much faster if they use both.
Yeah.
You could say that at least.
Yeah.
But if they're using enough of the gel, you really have to use enough of the gel though.
Yeah.
You know, and if they're drinking, you know, if you're suggesting that they drink more than a case, think about it. If 6 tubes is going to be equal to a case, you know, if they're supposed to be drinking like I do, 8 ounces a day, I'm going to have to use 12 tubes in a month.
Yeah. That'll be
So I would, yeah, I usually say it works, going to work much better if you drink and use the gel. But if they're not really willing to drink something, then have them use the gel.
Yeah. That's what I always tell them, because that's what I think, that it works better when you use both.
Yeah, it does work better when you use both.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. And Peter, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to expand on that business in the box. I think maybe some of us have that business in the box already done up to a certain extent, but I'm meeting with a naturopath doctor, and I was going to present that to them again, and I was just wondering what else maybe should be put in that business in the box. I mean, I've got Rosie's, and I've got a slideshow that I use off of my iPad that I tell them that I would give them, or
Well, like I said, I can take pictures. There was a lady that made up part of it, at least. She laminated some big things. She did the genetic study. She did the 3 and 5 minute thing, so
Yep.
they could see it's for pain. She did the breakdown of the molecules, breaking up salt and water and redoing it into the different types. She had that horrible scar that lady had, a Mohs thing. I know we're not, well, it's a scar, so I don't know. I guess that's okay. I think that's compliant. But anyway, she showed the Mohs scar. We've got that. And then she had some business things. I don't really put the business things up in the chiropractor's office, but I could take pictures of that. And then my daughter created this, and it's got, again, a lot of them are uncompliant, but it's even got like horse. She did a whole series of photos, and I could take pictures and send them to you if you guys want to see.
I've got the horse ones.
Yeah, there's horse, there's athletic, there's
I've
the
got
scarring from the doctor.
dogs with that have
Yeah.
been stitched up and healed.
Right. And she's got Royce's scar, Denny's son's scar, which again, she had to pull that down, but it's not compliant. But if you're taking it to a naturopathic office and people can look at them, I guess, privately or something like that, that might be another thought, to make a book with photos in it. Because it's very graphic. People, will glance through that and go, wow, I can do all this.
Yeah. I'll have to look and see. Supposed
But
to
you
be
can, yeah.
having an appointment with Vinette again.
Oh, okay. And you can show her different QR codes. You could do a QR code for each of the different products.
Yep.
Or the app can do that too, I guess. And speaking of the app, I've asked Susanna if somebody could come on and train us a little bit more on the app and what all it can do. So, of course, they're closed today, so I couldn't get them on for today. But anyway, so that will be, I'm hoping for next week, but we'll see. But she's got that, she's looking into that for us, and it might be her or it might be somebody else. But anyway, so I just think it would be good if we all learned a little bit more about it and what its capabilities are, and that kind of thing. And then we can also find out when it's going to be available in Canada, whatever.
Yeah, I'm still getting a SIA Connect.
Yeah. So again, I've got to get in touch with Daryl and Corey right now about several other things. So I will ask that again.
Okay.
A lot of the photos, and maybe Jackie can answer it, that you use, do you get those off of, just other people sharing on? Is that, too, like you said, you got to be compliant too, so.
Well, if you're in private, I'm not as compliant because there's scars in there that shouldn't be in there if you're being compliant.
And
And
why
even horses
scar
would, well, because you're not supposed to use it for healing.
So before and after
Of a scar, yeah, like Royce's, Denny had to pull that photo down because it's a wound, and we're not supposed to say it's healed.
the young woman that you have the picture with, her face very scarred from, I believe, lupus. Same thing then, right? I mean,
well, no, that's a face thing.
Condition.
It's kind of, yeah, that's like a rash kind of a thing. That is compliant. As far as I know, that one's compliant, because I didn't If I say lupus, then it's not
wound.
compliant. But if I say, she had a skin issue, it is compliant because
Okay.
it is able to
For
help your
instance,
skin.
my mom fell and broke her hip before the holidays, and she had to have surgery, and she's healing up pretty well, and I believe the Renew and just taking the liquid, when you look at the before, like if you look at the scar right after surgery, it's like, ugh, and
Yeah.
but that's not a compliant before and after picture,
I
really.
think a scar is. A scar is compliant, I believe.
But you just said the other scar, the guy's on his head, wasn't.
That was a wound. There's a difference between a wound and
Okay,
like
all
being
right.
all cut up. Like
I'm
I posted,
understanding where you're going. Okay.
okay, I posted a picture of a finger that had healed, that was really messed up, and they called me immediately. You need to take that down. I'm like, okay. Anyway, but if it's a scar, that's okay.
Surgery or, okay.
Anything to do with cosmetic is fine. How's that? Like
Okay.
cosmetic wrinkles and scars and age spots, those are all compliant.
Okay.
Okay. It's wounds and, like couldn't show a bed sore, even though this is amazing for bed sores.
What about
Right,
burn?
I'm sorry, Patience, I didn't hear you.
What about burns? If somebody got burned?
Oh, burns.
Mhm.
Those aren't compliant either because that's another wound.
Oh, okay.
But of course it helps. I mean, that's why you have to talk personally to people, because you can tell them this is amazing for burns. I wish I could get into burn centers and hospitals, because people that are burned over 2/3 of their body, they usually die because they just can't overcome it. And this would help them so much, and they wouldn't die. But I don't know. Not FDA approved, so they can't use it in hospitals. But anyway, so yeah, it's a fine line. It's a very fine line. But in person, I always show them burns. There's a hand that's badly burned in this book, that's got blisters all over it, and it heals very quickly. So anyway.
Debbie, my question would be, can we look at it at a different angle, being that wounds are susceptible to, infection?
You
could
can't
we
say that
look
either.
at,
I'm not supposed to ever
I'm
say
not
that
saying
this
that. I'm having a discussion with you to say if there are other complications around these issues that are non-compliant, can we look at it from a different angle, how we could, I'm just asking you to think about it. I don't know if we could think about a way to address it without addressing, what's not compliant, like in a preventative way, preventing from,
Well,
I
you're
don't
not
know, just
supposed
something to think about.
You can't say prevention either. So it's protection against the future. It's not prevention. Again, compliance is a very fine, like when I first went out to the base camp, I can tell you that somebody from compliance came in and he vetoed that we said anything. And we finally said, what can we say about this? And he goes, not much. And that was when they were so strict, they wouldn't allow us to say anything. And I came out of there going, whoa. But anyway, in private, and of course, if it's somebody make sure you're not just spilling this out to anybody private. You can definitely go into, even the fact that it's antiseptic, basically. But again, that's not compliant. We're not supposed to really bring that up, even though the tests were done and they found that, and the first company used this to sterilize dental tools and all that kind of stuff. That's all a fact, but we're not supposed to say it because of the FDA and the FTC. Yes,
I guess I've been.
I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. Are you done, Jackie? Or sorry. You just reminded me of something, Debbie, and it's a little bit off the subject, but I saw corporate had put out a video with Radiance that they were mixing it into a smoothie. And I thought you weren't supposed to mix the Radiance. So that's just a completely different question, but I know it's not Accelerator.
You can mix the Radiance with you can mix any of the products together. They just suggest not putting mood and energy together, because that's an upper and a downer, basically.
So they were mixed, so the radiance can be mixed with
It can
anything?
be mixed, but they said if it's protein, and most shakes are protein, so I'm surprised they were doing
They
that.
did, it's out there. It's like a mix. I'll have to see what.
Scientists told me specifically, try to stay 30 minutes away from any protein-rich
Protein.
anything.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks.
So, yeah, because the protein has an effect on the amino acids that you're putting into your body.
Definitely. Okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
Mm-hmm. So if it's
So
not
I just
protein
want,
shake- Yeah, go ahead.
sorry. Okay, so I retired from my job of personal care aide at people's homes, and I realized I could spray the ASEA on my hands instead of the, okay. So I can't even say that. I'm being non-compliant when
If
I'm
you
mentioning
know,
that.
you can't say it in public. If you know the person, you can tell them that. I've told a lot of people that.
Okay, because that's what I do when I'm sharing. Okay. Well,
Yes,
then on the
so-
other hand, I said, can you just tell me how your hand feels after you've done that? Even if I just even do that, they notice a difference. I'll say that cell signaling, is that not compliant?
No, you can say
Not when
that.
you're in front of somebody.
Okay.
If you're in front of somebody in a personal conversation, none of this carries out. It's just duplicatable public exposure of non-compliant information.
Right.
And I've been around long enough to remember that Gary Samuelson said in the beginning, does it help with this or that? Are there cells involved? And he asked us early on, and it has become very issue specific. We have become very issue specific in our conversations. If you take all that away and come right back down to, are there cells involved? And our bodies are a computer. When a computer gets foggy, signals are not clear, transmission is not clear, you reboot the computer. These molecules are rebooting the body's computer so that it can do its work correctly. All this issue specific confusion just creates, it muddies up the water.
Yeah. So I'm answering questions about what's compliant and not if you're going to post something on any social media or you're going to be speaking in public.
Right.
You can't say any of
Transferable
that.
information is careful.
Right. Otherwise, I mean, doctors spray it on their hands in between surgeries. Some doctors did that I know of because it's completely antiseptic. You could take it, I mean, instead of using Purell, which has a ton of chemicals in it, spray ASEA on your hands before you eat. If you're in a restaurant or something. That's what Dr. Malmed and stuff always did. He would just take out his bottle and go, you want some? I'm like, sure. So I'd spray it on.
That's what I do.
Much better than Purell.
I
So
spray an apple before I eat it.
You spray it on the plane. Yeah, a lot of people will spray it in the planes because there's so many germs there.
All the time.
I was thinking there was something recently I saw in one of our Facebook groups about compliance. I couldn't find it, but I did find an interview a couple of years ago, Cindy Buck did, with compliance. And I went to the compliance presentation at the Global Convention. There was a beautiful one-pager. And I don't see that in the library. I wish we had that in the library because it just said what you can say and what you can't say. I'll have to, it's in one of my notebooks here, but it was a really, really nice one-pager that they gave us at the compliance session at convention. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, like I said, that's if you're speaking in public and or, or you're posting on social media. If you know the person, tell them what this can really do.
Deb,
Yes.
Sandy put in the chat, and I just want to validate that what she said is correct, that the science is both for the gel and the liquid. Is that correct?
Yes. The science that was presented
in the white
the NRF2.
NRF2.
Oh, it was for the gel too?
Yes. If you look at the recording of Dr. Borges and Hunter Dean back in October on the Redox 5, it was a recap of what they presented at the Global Convention. So I think University of Bath actually studied the gel, or one studied the gel and one studied the liquid, and they both came to the conclusion that it was anywhere from a 40 to 60% upregulation.
Right.
And I think it was the gel that they put a blocker on a healthy cell to simulate a damaged cell.
Mhm.
And it went from 40% to 55% upregulation. So it really tried to compensate for that
Right.
cell that wasn't working.
And you
But yeah,
suspect that was the gel? That was the
I
gel?
think so. But yeah. It's
Wow.
back in October, if you look at the Dr. Osler's YouTube website,
Mhm.
go
Okay.
back to the one in October with Dr. Borges and Hunter Dean, and they
Okay.
talk about both the gel and the drink. And I'm not sure which university studied which, but they studied both the gel and the liquid. So.
Fantastic. Thank you so
Mhm.
much.
Yep. Perfect. All right.
I got a business question.
Yep.
So I have an associate who's been more like a glorified customer, but she's been adding up all this left and right volume. Well, last week we didn't get her to 100, and so all that volume dropped off. Can we call support tomorrow and backdate? Like, how do you go in and backdate? Let's say you missed something on Friday, but you want an order to count for the previous sales period. Can we do
Oh
that?
yeah,
How do
you
you
can
call in?
back it now. We'll have to call in before noon tomorrow.
Okay,
Because
since
they're
today's a
only
holiday.
backdating till noon, since today's a
Okay.
holiday. Yes.
Right, okay. So call in before noon Mountain Time
Right.
and just say, hey, we got to get an order in. So if they had a small order for 30 PV, but we need to get 100 in there. So
Right.
have to buy something else worth 70 to get her back up to, and that's
Right.
only done like the day after. Okay, okay, perfect. Okay,
Yeah. I mean, they don't love to backdate, so that's why
yeah.
I preach to you guys to try to look at your
Mm-hmm.
teams by Friday, but yes,
Yeah.
they will do it.
Okay, good, okay.
Okay.
Hi, Debbie. I have a quick question. This is a
Sure.
follow-up. Can you hear me?
Yeah, absolutely.
How are you?
Good.
I have a client that has or full spec. She has been saying she's so interested. Like we'll go back and forth for almost like hours, and then we'll book and schedule a call, and she'll just ghost. And this has been 3 times, which is really odd because we will engage going back and forth, talking about how it will help her daughter with. And so I just don't know what to do because it's been 3 times and I'm a very busy person. So
I do.
Tell her that.
Well, either the next time you talk to her, just say, what is holding you back? I thought you were very interested for your daughter, at least, because a child is something very important to them. What's holding you back? It's fine if you be honest with me. If you don't have the money, that's fine. I just, I want to be able to help you. So if you can do that the next time, or, you could also text her if you wanted to and just say that I'm going to have Jackie or me follow up with you because my schedule for the next week is hugely busy, and I'm going to have somebody else follow up with you because you seem so interested, and I want to make sure you get taken care of. You could do that either way, I guess.
okay.
That's a weird thing to have happen, though. Definitely.
It is. One time she was like, the neighbor came over and was like crying for hours, and I'm like, okay. Another time she said like she was struggling with putting the baby down, which I've been like understanding, but 3 times in a row, I'm like, okay. Yeah. Do you really want this? Like, she knows I have a daughter too. So I'm like, we both juggle that. But yeah, I've been trying to be patient, and also at the same time, I'm like, and she's not apologetic either. It's just like, oh, I ghosted you. And I'm like, what? It's really, really, really strange because our conversations are like great. And then we book the call. I'm asking her, is it the best time for her? She's like, yes. I get on the Zoom, nothing.
I wonder if she just is hungry for a sympathetic ear.
That's definitely a good thought and perspective.
Yep, that could be.
Pulling my energy.
So at that point, because of that, you might want to just say, I'm going to have, if you have somebody else follow up with her, she's either going to like flake out completely.
Yeah.
Because, she doesn't know us, and we're not a sympathetic ear necessarily. mean, we can be, but I don't want to start that with her.
Yeah.
But she'll know you're serious then, and she'll either respond or not.
Just out of curiosity, how are you following up with her on Facebook or WhatsApp?
Instagram.
Okay, Instagram's a little harder because on Facebook, or you bring in a third person in on the conversation and you introduce them as your friend expert. So
Well, but she could say this on Instagram, that, this is who brought me in and educated me. So, and we've become really good friends and stuff like that. So I'm going to turn them over because my schedule in the next week is just way busy. I can't talk or anything. So I was going to have Jackie or Debbie or whatever. We don't care. Follow up with you.
That's
And
great.
and see, and then just give her information, and we'll see what happens with us too then.
That sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. That kind of cuts it.
I have a question about that.
Mhm.
If that was my situation, would this be a good or bad idea? Just say, hey, I'm getting ready to put in some orders and fix her a shopping cart, since we've talked about everything. And maybe she just needs to make a simple, just full of information, and boom, done. She's not, but maybe it might be the sympathetic ear. But anyway, that's what I'm asking. Is she just ready to have a shopping cart sent, and based on, or a couple of different ones? I don't know. I'm just asking.
You've got the same situation and you're wondering if you should send her a shopping cart?
I'm
Is that what you're
saying
asking?
that if I did have that same situation, this would be my thought. Can I just suggest, we talk about suggesting based on some of the things that we've talked about, I could, I'd like to send you this shopping cart. If that's all you need to do is just fill out information, and we can get you started today.
Yeah. I mean, that's another thing you could do, is send her a shopping cart and just say, here, you've mentioned that you're very interested in, getting started. So here's a shopping cart. You can take things out if you don't want them, but here's what I suggest for you and your daughter.
Yeah, I tried that.
Okay.
But I appreciate this suggestion. Yeah, I've tried it. I've definitely tried it.
All right. Then just tell her Jackie and I say, yeah, say we're from Germany. We're going to follow up immediately. We need the decision right now. Of course, we won't do that, but anyway. All right. Well, it is 9:52, so I'm going to let you guys go, and thank you for coming, and I will get this recording out if anybody missed it, because I know Joyce was one. She couldn't be on today. So anyway.
Thank you, Debbie.
You guys have a
Thank you.
wonderful,
Thank
your
you.
assignment for this week is to kind of just go back into your funnel and find people who maybe you've missed. I want you to look at, some of your back pages or your back notes and stuff and see, oh my gosh, that's right. I forgot to follow up with this person, just to see, who else. And if you didn't get your 10 done, I want you to continue to do the gel test, because I want you to get very good at that and know that it works, and and be able to do that anytime you want to do that, even in a restaurant. Okay. All right. Everyone have a great week.
Thank you.
And turn in your MTRs if you haven't. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.